Welcome, everyone, to our live demo session. My name is Ryan Mullen. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Cleo. I'm joined by my colleague, Shane Hagan. He's on the Solutions Architect team. He's going to be the one running through the demo here very shortly. Just give me a second to get through some housekeeping. And I'm really excited about today's demo's theme because it's always our most popular, no-code trading partner onboarding. I can see by the number of people in the session today that are attending live that continues to be true. And speaking of themes, myself being a marketer, I have to plug our future demos. So please check out our events page on Cleo.com. You'll see all the different demos we have lined up for the next few months, whether it's a specific integration use case, it has to do with a specific ERP, TMS, or geared towards an industry, sub-industry. I think there's a lot that will appeal to many there. So head over, events page, Cleo.com, sign up for some more. Last area here, we will be saving some time for questions. Again, not only is this the most popular one that we normally do, it also gets a lot of engagement. So as questions come to mind, don't wait. Pop them down there in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Shane's highlighted it. We're going to do our best to address all of them at the end of today's session. If for whatever reason we run out of time, we will have a Cleo representative reach out to you directly with an answer. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Shane. Shane, please take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. So I will get right into it here. Quick introduction on myself. My name is Shane Hagan. I'm a solution architect with the Cleo team. So I support our go-to-market teams as a technical resource. I'm based out of Philadelphia, and I've been with Cleo for about 3 years now. So getting right into it, the topic today is no-code onboarding. And what I want to kind of introduce here is the reasons for no-code onboarding or the benefits that no-code onboarding delivers. So for one, makes onboarding much faster. The development effort of traditionally building unique mappings and defining the maps from a partner-specific definition of an EDI transaction to your internal application. It really simplifies and gets away from that approach. So speeds up that time to onboard a partner, less time spent in development, more time kind of bugging the partner to say, hey, let's get into testing cycles and get live. It does empower citizen integrators, so you don't need a PhD in integration methods and patterns to be able to set this up. And lastly, there really enables you to scale out your partner network as quickly as possible. So, and we talked about those benefits here, so this is a little bit redundant, but again, just reducing that onboarding time of your partners to minutes as far as development time rather than hours or days. So how this works in practice and what the design looks like here if I build out this screen here for us. So on the right-hand side, we are seeing let me back up for a second. This is a full diagram of the end-to-end integration that the Cleo Integration Cloud delivers. So on the right-hand side is what we call your business ecosystem. These are your partners, whether it's your retailers or customers that you work with, your 3PL distribution networks, whether that's warehouses or logistics companies, carriers or brokerages, or a procurement network or a supplier network that you might be working with. That's what we consider your business ecosystem. And on the left-hand side is your enterprise ecosystem. These are all of your internal applications that your team uses to run your business, right? So whether it's an ERP system, TMS system, WMS, whatever it might be, Cleo is able to connect these ecosystems together end to end with our integration cloud. So we are a full-blown integration engine that can connect your applications to your partners. Now, where the no-code onboarding comes in is defining the transactions that your partners are doing on the right-hand side. What ends up happening is these partners use their own unique versions of EDI documents. They might change how different fields are used or change the validation, minimum and maximum lengths on a field, right? They might just do whatever they want. EDI, while it might be a standard, is still very much non-standard. Businesses have ended up defining things in their own way. And so we need to account for that uniqueness. And so that's where no-code onboarding comes in, is we have a interface for handling those maps and those validations, and it passes through a standardized version of all of your transactions to our integration engine for the backend application connection. So, for example, 850s from your retailers, purchase orders from your retailers, they have all defined their purchase order differently. No-code onboarding takes those different purchase orders and massages them or maps them into a common Cleo purchase order format. And then Cleo will take that format and map that into your backend application, your ERP system. So that's how the design of no-code onboarding works, or the end-to-end design here, and where no-code onboarding comes into play. So with all of that being said, I get a lot of questions on this slide or on this topic in general. So if there are any questions that you have right now, please drop those in the chat and we'll get to those at the end. But I want to jump to a actual demo of the no-code onboarding interface here. So let me switch my screen share and we will get into a demo. All right, very good. So switching over to the actual Cleo Integration Cloud platform, what we're looking at here is the CIC Cockpit. It's our user interface for day-to-day operations, troubleshooting, and new partner onboarding. So where I'm at in the cockpit here is the Network and Partners tab. This is where I would set up new partners in my Cleo environment. Now, I see all of the partners that I have set up in my demo instance here. I can also select this button at the top right-hand corner to add a new partner. Now, this is where we see the initial Let's Get Started page, where we can start onboarding a partner with either sample files that we have from that partner or transaction or partner profiles that Cleo has defined. So Cleo does have a library of partners that we've onboarded in the past that our customers have access to and that we can pull off the shelf to use for our implementation of Cleo, right? So we have maps defined for popular retailers or popular businesses that we've connected to with our other customers. So as a Cleo customer, you would have access to that library and you'd be able to browse and search for partners that you'd like to onboard. If those partners don't exist or haven't been added to our library, you can start with sample files. So I'm going to go ahead and browse, and I have and here I'm realizing I need to update my screen share to capture the desktop just to show you the pop-up here. So these are just mock or sample files for demo purposes that I have. So I'm going to onboard AFES, and I'll start with their partner profile. And I'll open that up here and click continue. And what that partner profile will have is their ISA ID and the name that would show up in Cleo. I can configure this if I'd like to have it show up differently, and I'll create a new partner. When I create that partner, we can see what that partner profile had defined in it, which is all of the partner's trading information or enveloping information. So ISA and GSIDs, delimiters for how they delimit their EDI transactions. And then at the top here, we would add our trading IDs to finish the profile configuration. So that's the first step in the onboarding process with Cleo. Now we can run through these tabs here and see what else would go into configuring this partner to now trade with. We can go to the endpoints tab. This is where we would see all of the different types of communication channels that Cleo supports with your partners. The popular ones being AS2 and SFTP. We have FTPS, OFTP, email, partner mailbox in here as well. So however you communicate with this partner, you select that type of communication and start filling out that information. So if I use AS2 with this partner, fill out their AS2 credentials, my AS2 credentials, select any security options here. If we are signing and encrypting payloads, we can check the box for that and require those security protocols. Cleo does have key insert management built into the platform here, so you are able to upload your own certificates or keys and or generate your own or new certificates or keys with the Cleo platform. The key insert management also does proactive alerting. And while I'm talking about it, I can just open it in a new tab here. So you can see all of your keys inserts in here. You'll know if they're expiring or have expired. You'll get alerts if they are at an expiring status and configure the time frame for receiving those alerts. So all of that built into the platform here. And at the top right is where you import or generate new certificates. Very good. So jumping back to the endpoints here, I think it's also worth mentioning that the Cleo Integration Cloud does let you host FTP or SFTP servers if you do have partners that would like you to host these endpoints for them. So if a partner wants to hit your SFTP server, for example, you can set up a partner mailbox, enable SFTP connection. We see your SFTP URL in here, and then you can provision accounts through the Cleo interface here, set up username and password, and configure their access to the different mailbox folders. All right, so that's the different endpoint types that are supported here. Let's move to the transactions, which is the big portion of the demo here. So similar to the partner profile, where you can import from a profile that is from the Clio library or a sample file, you can do the same thing with transactions. So if you have sample 850s or 856s with your new partner, you can upload them here. Or if those profiles are defined in the Clio library, you can also pull them off the shelf from our team. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have some profiles here for some of the core order to cash transactions that we might do with our customers. So I have AFES transaction profiles here. I've brought them in and I'll click continue. And now that we're done with the pop-ups, I will switch the screen share back to the browser just so it's cleaner. So here we see the direction and the EDI version, confirm that all of that looks correct. And we add these transactions to our partner profile or our partner definition here. And now we see on the left-hand side the transactions that we've brought in. We can click through these and see the definition of the 850 for AFES or the 855 and 856. I like using an outbound transaction because it's a little cleaner to see the setup for the routing rules that we're doing here. So I'll use the 856 as the example for the webinar here. So when we first set up a transaction, the first thing you'll do is configure the routing settings. So at the top right-hand corner here, there's a cogwheel. This is where you set up the routing settings. The first configuration here is the business process. So I talked a little bit about this on the architecture diagram. We have Cleo integration processes that are generating Cleo formats for all of the different transactions that we're doing with our partners. So for example, our ERP system, Cleo is integrating with it to create an 856 Cleo version of that of the 856 transaction or the shipment notice. So what we're doing here is tying this map to that backend business process that's integrating with our ERP system. So it's kind of like a two-stage integration, and this is connecting those two stages together. So we select that stage that's generating the Clio 856, We select the business process that routes that 856, and we select the endpoint that it's being routed to, in this case, AFI's AS2 endpoint. We enable validation so that we can make sure the data is clean for the partner or meets their specs. So we'll keep that enabled and we'll save this. Now that we've done that configuration, we can expand these mapping rules here and see how to set up the partner-specific maps and validation that we'll be doing on this data. So what we're seeing here are two different fields for each of our elements in the 856. We see a formula and a format field. The formula is configuring any of the conditional evaluation or the manipulation of the information in our 856 that gets generated from that Cleo template integration process. So an @ sign means pass through. That effectively means whatever the Cleo integration backend process is generating is the same that the partner expects. So there's no change needed. If there is manipulation, we have formulas that we can write in here that are very much Excel-like formulas where we can do some conditional evaluation. Like for instance, in this HL loop, we are only including the loop that includes or has S in the HL03 segment. So we look for the HL03 when we get to this formula. If it equals S, we include that that instance of the segment, the HL segment here. So that's one example. There's a bunch of different formulas you can write for the data massaging and manipulation that you might need to do, whether that's grabbing data from other elements, combining data from elements together, splitting it apart, a bunch of different things that a user can write in here in a very much Excel-like way. The other setup for each of these elements is the format. So is it a mandatory or an optional field? So we'll run that validation step on these transactions. And then we'll also validate the data type. So if it's alphanumeric or a date time or an identifier or a number, whatever it might be, we'll select that data type, the number of characters that that segment or element is allowed to be, and the values that are allowed in that element. So again, we would configure this based on the partner's requirements, right? What do they put in this particular element? Are there values that they've added that are outside of the X12 standard? Or values that they exclusively do with us and not other partners of theirs. So you can come in here and make the tweaks and changes necessary for your unique mapping with your customers. So for example, if I don't want to send the 10 in this element, in this BSN01 element, I can update that and that becomes a validation that I'm running. It's worth pointing out here, you're able to trim or add segments or elements, again, depending on what the partner is requiring. You can think of the backend integration process that this data comes from as the superset of all shipment information that comes out of your ERP system. So it's going to capture everything that might be needed for your partner network. And then we are trimming it down or massaging it into what the partner is expecting at this point. So if the partner doesn't want certain detail loops, right, we can uncheck the box for these loops and remove them from their map. Or if they don't want the summary area at the bottom here, we can uncheck that and update the format of the transaction that gets sent to the partner. You're able to search through the fields here. You could select by areas or filter through all of your fields and search at the top here. If you need to quickly find a field, I know some of these transactions can be very large. You're able to search for specific fields in here as well. Now, obviously, there are testing phases that you'd want to send these maps through. So we have testing at the top left-hand corner. We select this test button, and what we see on the left-hand side is any source examples, and I had a few examples already uploaded for the sake of demos. So we see some example 856s that are generated from that backend integration process. So I have one here that is supposed to create an error, and we see what that 856 looks like on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side is the partner-specific transformation. So this is after we've run those formulas and after we've run those validation rules. We see the results of that on the right-hand side here. So we can see the BSN03 is getting flagged, and if we highlight over that error message, we see it was mandatory but not found. So it's not something that's being captured by our backend integration process, because if we look on the left-hand side, there's no value here. If we take a look at our BSN03 mapping rule, we do see we map it, we pass that data through. So we need to figure out where this data should be coming from our ERP system, because obviously it isn't being captured. So that's one example of an issue. It would do the same thing for any of the validations that are failing, or any of the formulas that you write for your for the data manipulation here. Now, with the Cleo Integration Cloud, obviously you go through these testing cycles. You would publish any new changes. As you publish changes or make changes, you're able to export the version of that map for change management and also for promotion to production. So you'll have two different instances or two tenants of the Clio platform, one for test or development and one for production. So once you've done all of your testing in the no-code onboarding here, you publish that map, export it, and bring it up to production. The last piece of the partner onboarding that I want to touch on here is the relationship management. So one of the goals of Clio, or one of the uh, added functionality that Clio has, is trying to prevent chargebacks that might be incurred from your customers based on your response times to them. If you are not responding in time with order confirmations or shipment notices, they might hit you with chargeback or scorecard pings. So when you onboard a new partner, if they do have those requirements or those SLAs that they expect from you, you can configure the metrics to be monitored for in the Clio platform. So I can add metrics here, and let's say for AFES, I want to monitor our order acknowledgement time and our shipment time. So I can check the box for those, and we'll see in here we have some default settings to expect order acknowledgements to be sent within an hour of receiving the order from AFES, and expect to send a shipment notice within a day of receiving the order. Now, if AFES is providing an expected response time in their orders, which some partners will provide, we will pull that information and monitor off of their expected response time. If they don't provide that, we will have this fallback setting here to say, all right, we want to blanket respond to AFES within an hour to meet the SLA that they expect from us. So over time, we would build reports and scorecards on your performance with your partner so that you understand the health of your relationship and if timeliness factors are becoming a problem with your B2B or supply chain relationships. So I know we have about 5 minutes left. Ryan, can we jump over to the Q&A section and see
Yeah,
what kind of questions we have?
absolutely. Let's rip through these. Okay. So the first one, what if you send to a van and have the endpoint already set up?
What if you send to a van and have the endpoint already set up?
We need to
I'm
ask for more elaboration?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what we mean there. Yeah, I don't really understand the question.
I guess as far as, if you're mandated to go through a van and so Cleo sits in front of that, still able to create that connection and map yourself, correct?
Yes, yes. So yeah, if we are sending to a van, Clio is of course able to connect to that van. Yeah, I'm not really sure what we mean by have the endpoint already set up. Each tenant of Clio, you will be standing up your unique endpoints to your partners or to your vans that you use. You don't go through a Clio van that connects to that van on your behalf. So you will have to set up the van credentials and the mailbox that you're dropping off at or grabbing from on the van side.
Okay, excellent. That question was submitted anonymously. So if we missed the mark there, please double down, send us some more detail or context. Next one. Are you able to upload multiple samples for the same document type to catch multiple different scenarios?
Yes, great question. So I had a couple different samples in here. So yes, absolutely. Have multiple document type uploads in here for the different scenarios that you might have with your partners, and you're able to go through and run tests on each of those as you select. So I have this sample here that has no issues. I have another one here that causes problems.
Okay. I love that question because you got fired up on it. I like it. Awesome. Next one. Does this automatically add dashboard hooks for the new partner and their transactions?
Yes, absolutely. So as data starts flowing through those, oh, and I realized I paused my screen share, so we didn't see what I just showed earlier, but that's fine.
All good.
Hopefully I described it well enough. So yes, when you onboard that new partner, as data starts moving through the Cleo Integration Cloud, it will automatically get populated into your dashboard here for views into their transactions and reports on the partner level.
Excellent. And I think a lot of that gets into the whole conversation of scorecarding, and how you're scorecarding yourself against some of the KPIs, SLAs, expectations from your critical trading partners, or how you might be scorecarding some of your trading partners. And that is one of the demos that we will be doing over the course of the next few weeks. And that should be a good one as well. And to your point, Shane, all that data rolls right in on an aggregate level, or we can drill down by trading partner. So that's fantastic. Okay, we have a couple more questions, but we're out of time. So the last one here, though, I joined late due to time difference. Can I get a recording? Absolutely. Everybody on this call will get a recording that will come from our customer marketing manager, Jill Barlow. It usually hits your inbox early in the following week. So keep an eye out for that note on Monday or Tuesday. For everybody else's questions that we did not get to, we will reach out directly. I'll likely put Shane on the case because he obviously has the technical knowledge and expertise. But again, everyone, please enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. We really appreciate you taking 30 minutes on a Thursday to spend some time with us. And we'll see you on the next demo. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.